Hey guys, it's me, the King of Dynamite here today. Today, we're doing something pretty awesome. We are going to be taking a look at several Pac Man creation items from the folks over at My Arcade. My Arcade is a brand that makes stuff such as recreations of classic arcade games on new handhelds like the Pocket Player and many arcade bases, such as what I'm going to be taking a look at today. I got my hands on the Miss Pac Man mini arcade machine and the Pac Man Pocket Player. Both of these are retro classic games, and they were repurposed for these two new recreations to play them on. I'm pretty excited to get into this, and I hope you are too. So now today's video is going to be a bit of a longer video, but I hope you like and subscribe, and let's get on into it.
So starting with the Miss Pac-Man mini arcade machine, I have prices and other information on this. So the two places I know for a fact that you can buy this at right now is Walgreens and Amazon. Walgreens is selling it for $29.99 right now without tax, which is a bit much for a collectible item. Not to mention that in places with sales tax is a bit more. But this is a kind of a really cool replica that I feel like it's worth the price point, and you'll see why I say that later on. And of course, Amazon is selling it for $35.76. It's usually $39.99, but it is on sale, so that is pretty good for the most part. And it comes with Miss Pac-Man on it, the original game, just like how it came in the arcades. And yeah, let's get into the legit review.
So we're going to go ahead and start off with the Miss Pac Man arcade machine. And the reason we're starting with the Miss Pac Man arcade machine is the fact that it's more resemblable of an actual system you'd play this on, like the actual arcade machines, rather than the handheld, the Pocket Player we're going to show you in a bit. So we're starting with this one. Now, if you were someone who played Pac Man back in the 80s, you would know that Pac Man's design on the arcade machine wasn't very accurate. He looked like a frog with weird stubby legs, and the ghosts also looked off. On this arcade machine, it looks a lot better. This Pac Man looks a lot more like a Pac Man design. Now, it's not quite like the Pocket Player design, like the more modern design, as I'll show you later. It's kind of still more like just a ball shape, but it's still kind of cutesy. You know, got a bow, you got the high heels. It's kind of funny, and the ghost looks really cartoonish, but I honestly really love it. If you can't tell, which you should be able to tell unless you're colorblind, it's blue, pink, and yellow, which is the three main colors for this, and that's pretty interesting for a color scheme. I mean, it's not bad by any means. It does look a little weird though. I don't really like the Ghost's color scheme. I do like the Ghost design, but the color scheme just didn't fit because there's no yellow Ghost in the game. I mean, it has pink highlights and there's a pink Ghost in the game, and no, I'm not going to go over all the names right now, trying to rack my brain to remember the Ghost names. But I do know there's no yellow Ghost, and this Ghost is mainly yellow, so it doesn't feel very accurate. These blue Ghosts at the bottom are kind of weird too, because there's only one blue Ghost. But it's still kind of good in design. And of course, on both sides, we have the same exact design. And of course, we got Miss Pac Man written right there. Now, the front is where it gets even more interesting. Taking a look at the front, it totally resembles an arcade machine when you look at that. Of course, ignore the My Arcade logo, like right here. That is just the branding for this, as I said before. We do have a nice Miss Pac Man logo at the top. This one I like a lot more than the sides because, you know, we got an actual pink accurate ghost, so that's kind of fun. And the arcade machine looks like a real arcade machine. I mean, taking a look at it, you got the classic color stripes over the across this, like atop the screen, and you can see Miss Pac-Man chasing down ghosts. Again, they're all, I believe, blue, so not very accurate, but I'm going to try and get over that. I like the pink and yellow there again. And of course, just like regular arcade machines, you got the score sheet for the fruit. I'll get a close up on that as much as I can. There's a score sheet for the fruit on where, like, how much points they're worth if you did play Miss Pac-Man. And of course, the front part, like if I bend it over where you'd actually play on the arcade machine, and I'll talk about that in a bit. It's nice to see that you got the red joystick. It kind of rocks this D-pad, I believe it's what it's called, around, and it's it's like a regular joystick. It is on a screw, so that could come off if you really wanted to take it off, but I wouldn't recommend it. I do like the pink stripe of Miss Pac-Man right there. That's pretty nice. And of course, they got the start button and the reset button, which I'll get back to in a second. On the front, I believe is where you put the coins in if this was really an arcade. And that's going to be your start button, which does this. As you see, it lights up the screen, and sorry about it being blurry. I mean, we have to kind of deal with it because of my filming setup. But it does put the game on screen. And of course, this is iArcade arcade machine, so you can actually play the game. If you click the start button, it starts up a game. And if you want to, like, not play anymore, just click either die or click this. It turns it all the way off. Now, you could also, let's say I turned it on, played a game, and then I clicked reset. That's going to back me out of the game, just go to the front screen. And it's going to be a lot better than what the Pocket Player does. And I'll talk about that in a minute when I get to that one. But yeah, I really like how this acts and looks like a regular arcade machine. And of course, no money need to be inserted considering you already paid like around $30 for this. And then if you turn around to the back side for the final point, we do got the battery cage right here. If I'm going to try and open it up for you guys, it does contain 4 AA batteries. And you're I know it may seem like a lot for something, but this is kind of a thing that needs a lot of batteries to run on. And then of course you get the speaker right here. That's where the sound comes out. And you get the plus and minus symbols. That's gonna be your volume. So for your thing, sadly, the volume, I believe, if you turn it down before you start a game, it's not gonna turn down. You have to turn it down during game, which kind of sucks, but it's still cool to have this nonetheless. And of course, right here, I believe, is your headphone slot. Your headphones, I could be wrong, but I believe it's what that is. And yeah, that's the Miss Pac-Man Mini Arcade Machine. I really like this one, and as you'll see in a minute, I definitely like it better than the Pocket Player. Also, as a note, I totally forgot to say this when originally filming this scene. I'm going to try and get a close-up. Right down here, there is a slot for our charger. Now, I personally have never charged this thing. I always use batteries, so I don't know if, like, it was charged before when I first got this or whatever. But I believe if you just plug that in, I'm trying to get a close-up on it. I believe if you just plug that in, it also should work. It might not need the batteries in that case. But, yeah, just thought I'd mention that.
So next we have the Pac Man Mini Pocket Player, which I have again prices and other information. The price of this at Walgreens is actually a bit expensive at $34.99, of course without tax and states of sales tax, and Amazon is $35.99. So technically, if you were to take the sale with the arcade machine for Miss Pac-Man, this is technically more expensive, which is a little weird because, as you'll see, this is my least favorite of the two. The games on this, as I will talk about, we got Pac-Man the original, Pac-Mania, and Pac-Panic. And yeah, let's get into this specific review.
So next we're going to take a look at the Mini Pocket Player for Pac-Man, and let me tell you, I personally really do not like this one. This one's kind of one of my least favorite of the two things I picked up for this video, and I'll show you why. Just to start right off the bat, I am unfortunately not going to have any actual like stuff appear on screen for this review, unlike I did with Miss Pac-Man, because this thing has a very big issue with its batteries and charging system, which I will get to. Anyway, this thing is, if you like Pac-Man, I feel like this thing is a little worth it. I mean, it's a small handheld. It's not much bigger than a phone. I mean, the screen is pretty much takes about half of it, and it's kind of split on the sides. See, this is the modernized Pac-Man look. This is kind of what I wish was on the Miss Pac-Man design, but that wouldn't be accurate to the original, so I do like that at least this one is the modern design. Just get the Pac-Man thing above the red control buttons, and you got your added start and reset buttons, I believe, right here. You got the A and B buttons, which I'll talk about, and of course you get the on, turn off, and everything else. So, and we got a speaker down here. Not gonna forget we have a speaker. Now, this is where I have to start complaining about this thing. So, I like this for the most part when it comes to design wise. I do think it's a little weird how you get into a game though. As you can see on the back, I don't know if you ended up getting this thing or if you're planning on getting it, if you have this, but on the back it has stickers for two different games. Pac-Mania, which is about pretty much 3D Pac-Man, and Pac-Panic, which is like Pac-Man Tetris. And those are the two other games other than Pac-Man that this thing comes with. And they're all programmed into the thing. So again, no like micro SD cards you could put in here. It's only just Pac-Man, and I do like that it includes different games. I do kind of not like this thing though, because it just feels like it doesn't really try to be super unique. It just kind of is focused on Pac-Man, and once you end up jumping into the games, I know it's supposed to be focused on Pac-Man, but those games are not as fun as I hope they would be. Like, Pac-Man is the thing I've had the most hours on this. When I was able to get this thing playing, which I'm gonna talk about why this is not gonna turn on for this review. So what would usually happen is that when you jump into a game, you have to click start, whichever game you want. It will give you a main menu showing you Pac-Man, Pac-Panic, and Pac-Mania. Click start for whichever one you want, I believe. It's either start or A. And then A is going to be, I believe, what you use to get into each game. Once you've clicked start, enter, you have to click A to get past cutscenes. And it's pretty fine. I don't really like how we have A and B buttons, because as you saw on the arcade machine, now didn't really have that. It was accurate to the original arcade machine. This is kind of classic handheld, and it doesn't feel the same. Of course, this red D-pad is what's going to be used for the moving. I believe it's called a D-pad. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. And yeah, it's all really simplified. And again, I played Pac-Man on this the most, believe it or not. Pac-Man is probably the hardest game on here. That Pac-Tetris thing is ridiculous. And where I go, Pac-Man is just kind of hard for the most part. But I like playing it the most because the other games just felt boring to me. And let me tell you, Pac-Mania has a really bad soundtrack. Now, ignoring the fact that this thing comes with other games and all the games on it, we gotta talk about my biggest complaint with this thing. So at the top, we got of course the volume buttons. This is fine, plus minus, and it doesn't have the same glitch. At least I believe it doesn't have the same glitch. It's at the arcade machine where it doesn't turn this volume down until you enter the game. Now, as you can see, this red switch is an on and off switch. I have that switch on, and it's not turning on. Now, you would probably expect me to tell you that this thing is because of the batteries. But the batteries I thought were charged, but apparently they're not charged. And that's I don't have any spare batteries right now, which kind of sucks. And that's it's unfortunate. But it's not just my fault there's no good batteries in here. It's kind of the fault of the system because, as you can see, we got a charging slot up here. And you would think that if I just plug this into my charger, it should let me play the game. And now when I plug it in, it does have the pocket something like the branding for this startup, but then it just shuts down. And the deal is the batteries have to be charged in order to even get it working on a cord. Which, if you ask me, is ridiculous. For now, I could be wrong. Maybe I have a broken one. I don't know, but this thing is almost nearly mint condition. But legit, I used to play on this thing a lot, and this glitch has always happened to me. Like, these batteries are dead, and they do take, I believe, me looking at it, it takes four AAA batteries in order to charge this thing up, which is already a lot on its own. But then there's the fact that you got this charging slot, and you think, well, the charging slot is useful when they build on batteries, but it doesn't work without batteries, which leads you to believe, why do we have a charging slot? And even that, like, these batteries drain fast because when I originally played this thing, the batteries only lasted around like 1 hour, which is ridiculous. And I don't understand. Maybe mine's just defected, but I don't think it is. I mean, this thing again, aside from me playing with it, it's almost mint condition, so it doesn't make any sense. And it's not like the Miss Pac Man machine. I could be very wrong about this. I believe this charging slot is nearly useless, except for just booting up the name of the brain who makes this. Now, I'm gonna try and jump out of the negatives here. I do like that we got this strap to put your hand in, so you can holster this thing around. But again, this almost seems useless. Now I just have like one of those Joy-Con straps to put the hand in. But I'm not playing Mario Party. I'm playing Pac Man. What is the use of this strap? I mean, what is the use of it? I don't know what the use of the strap is. I don't like it. It's just weird. So, I probably am sounding very repetitive at this point. I don't really like this one. I mean, if you're here to play just Pac Man on it, and accept the fact, at least of mine, I have had to accept the fact that it doesn't charge very well. Well, then you do you. But I'd much rather play at the Miss Pac Man machine, which is why I still have not beat level 2 on this stupid thing. And yes, that shows that I'm really bad at Pac Man. But I don't care. I don't really like this one. It's around 3 out of 10 for me, and I'd much rather pick up that, what is a 9 out of 10 of a machine, the Miss Pac Man mini arcade machine. Oh, and yeah, I forgot to bring up that there actually is a headphone slot on this one. It's just kind of like, it's there, and it's in a really awkward spot, because unless you're wearing those small headphones, it gets a cord right in the middle, and you already have this thing. So again, kind of, except for the fact this works with headphones, it's also kind of another complaint. And as I didn't mention this originally either, this thing does go in the sleep mode after 10 minutes of inactivity, which maybe that's the reason why this thing doesn't work, but again, how can I have inactivity if I haven't even turned this thing on?
So, in the end, I definitely have to say that the Miss Pac Man arcade machine is definitely worth it. It's a good mini play set, play thing, if you like playing the original Miss Pac Man. On the other hand, the Pac Man Pocket Player, I'll recommend not buying. For one, it costs more than the system I think is better, which is the Miss Pac Man arcade machine. And it has a bunch of things I don't like of it, including its charging system, its layout, and that weird strap in headphone areas. So yeah, instead of spending nearly $40 on this backup player, I would just go to Walgreens on the app or maybe even in store and just go ahead and get yourself a Miss Pac Man arcade machine. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I must state that this was not a paid promotion, but thank you to My Arcade for putting out these amazing video game collector pieces. But yeah, like and subscribe. Let's get 30 subscribers at the end of the month, and stay tuned.